A very good afternoon and welcome to the King Power Stadium. It is Leicester City versus Chelsea. This is a venue that the Blues enjoy coming to. They've only been beaten on one of their last 6 visits to this particular corner of the East Midlands, at 3-0 win, convincing here last season. And they're coming up against a team who are desperately struggling for form. So let's hope that Chelsea can make it 3 wins in a row for the first time since early October. In terms of the team news, I can tell you that both sides make 2 changes. Graham Potter said in his pre-match press conference that Reece James and Raheem Sterling were likely to be missing for this match, and indeed that is how things have turned out. In their place come Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Mykhailo Mudryk. So, assuming that it's the same formation that we've seen in the last few games, it will be Kepa in goal, a back 3 of Fofana, Koulibaly and Cucurella. We're expecting, therefore, Ruben Loftus-Cheek to be the right wing back, with Ben Chilwell, of course, playing on the left, having been so good on Tuesday night against Dortmund. Again, it's Mateo Kovacic and Enzo Fernandez in the heart of the midfield, and there will be Mudryk, Havertz and Joao Felix as your front 3. As for Leicester, they also show a couple of changes from their most recent match. That was a disappointing defeat down at Southampton last weekend. They bring in Daniel Amate and Patson Daka. They're coming in place of Harvey Barnes and Tete. Tete is out injured, so he is not available for a Leicester side today who've lost their last 4 games in all competitions. They haven't even managed so much as a shot on target in their last 2 league fixtures. And they've gone back-to-back Premier League games without scoring for the first time since a run of 6 games from January to February 2017. So plenty of reason there for Chelsea to be optimistic. Around about 3,000 Blue supporters making the trip up to the East Midlands for this one. And as I say, they are used to seeing Chelsea win here, looking to do the double over the Blues for the first time in the league since 2016-17, having won narrowly at Stamford Bridge with 10 men for most of the fixture after Conor Gallagher's early red card when the sides met back in August. Did you know March is traditionally a very lucky month for Chelsea FC, unbeaten in this month since a defeat to Everton way back in 2019. Chelsea have won 15 and drawn 1 match since then. That's in all competitions to 2. The Blues also looking for a first win in 10 away games. That's since that victory at RB Salzburg back in October. But there's a new sense of belief about Chelsea after that magnificent performance against Dortmund on Tuesday night, coupled with the Premier League win against Leeds last weekend. Graham Potter and his players will be hoping to prey on the nerves, particularly amongst the home supporters. There's not been much support for Brendan Rodgers around these parts of late. And if Leicester struggle early on and Chelsea can get an early goal, the home crowd may well turn on you. Well, wherever Chelsea FC and their fans go, Trivago is there to bring us all together on match days. The Wherever You Go wall is presented by our official club partner, Trivago. Wherever you are in the world, send in a selfie and a message of support for the Blues. Let us know where you are and where you'll be supporting the Blues today. You can tweet us using the hashtag Wherever You Go. Right then, I'll be getting some post-match reaction, hopefully after another Chelsea victory. Max and Jason will be here with the warm-up shortly.
what is a very good afternoon. Welcome to King Power Stadium. There's a reminder on the big screen.
2 wins from 14 in all competitions, and there's a little deficit to overturn when Dortmund come to Chelsea.
Come on. Yes, Cov, yeah, we're good. Come on, guys, come on.
Wow, what an evening that was in the Champions League in midweek. Tell you what, after the smoke settled on that one, these players would have been absolutely flying. There's no time for them to get carried away, because this afternoon it's back to Premier League action for Chelsea and back to a happy hunting ground in recent years as well. Good afternoon from the King Power. Wherever we go, Trivago are with us, and now they bring us to the Midlands to follow Chelsea's warm-up ahead of this afternoon's game against Leicester. Alongside me to find out whether the Blues can make it 11 wins from 15 trips here is Jason Cundy. Good afternoon, Jason.
Good afternoon, Max. Good afternoon, everyone.
Of course, important to continue to generate momentum after the 2 recent wins. So let's take a look at your 3 points then to pick up the 3 points this afternoon. And firstly, it's about continuing to stretch the opposition's back line. We saw that Raheem Sterling did that so well. He's not in the squad today, so a real opportunity for Mykhailo Mudryk to do the same.
Do you know what? I think this has been a feature of our game that's actually grown and is becoming more and more prevalent. I feel that if I went back maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, I felt this was something we didn't do enough. And there was a couple of examples. Conor Gallagher started to break, Mace started to break and get beyond them. And when you play against Chelsea, there's a blueprint, and this isn't just under this manager. I can go back to even under Jose. I remember the 18th century football. We played against West Ham and Sam Allardyce was manager. Teams will sit deep and they deny space in behind, and also what they do, they try and stop the space on the edge of the box. So you've got to come up with a different way. But I feel that we could, when there's a transition, when the opposition are higher up the pitch, can we break those lines? Can we stretch the back line? Because what that does, they drop deeper and allow space for the likes of Kai or Mace or Mudryk, there's going to be Felix, whoever, to operate, and it gives you options. If you don't break those lines, you're easy to play against. Teams will sit there. Everything is in front of them. What you want to do is you want to get them chasing back towards their own goal. And sometimes those runs aren't to receive the ball. It's to threaten in behind. Obviously, at some stage, that ball's got to go because there's got to be a real threat. But I feel that we are starting now, and now he's got this squad of players that he's now got a fuller squad to pick from. I feel that he's got the players that can do that more often. And Sterling, as you mentioned, he's not in the squad today. But Mudryk can do it today. Kai can do that. And if Kai he might make a run, he might be offside. What that'll do, it might give 4 or 5 yards. And players like Felix's his ability, that's enough for him to operate and perhaps do damage. Maybe then Kai gets onside, then it might be the second run after that. And I'm starting to see us do that a bit more often, Max. And I'm liking it because it gives us more space on the pitch.
I like the balance as well of having those front 3 players. We know what Kai Havertz is going to do. We know that he can run the channels. If he becomes a bit more of the focal point, you've got the 2 behind him. You know, today it's Mudryk and it's Joao Felix as well, who can float around. It makes it so much difficult for defenders to pick up. Yeah,
and also, you know, Timo Werner used to do this. Not enough for me, but I felt we're a better side when he was in it. And there was a game against Sheffield United a couple of seasons ago where his runs would devastate him, and it's about timing those runs. So Kai can actually drop into that area where Felix and Mudryk might want to be, but actually when he goes in there, what he's then allowing is that run in behind. So he might drag a defender closer to the midfield, which leaves more space in behind. And it's about that joined up thinking. And this is the work that we don't get to see on the training ground that we hope we're going to see today.
We hope we're going to see it quickly as well. Moving on to point number 2. We've said it a few times this season already. Today, of course, is no different. Quickly, can we come out the blocks?
Do you know what? We're on a lovely run of form, and it feels like there's a turner being cornered. It's a corner being turned. I do apologise.
Easy for you to say.
Easy for me to say. But you don't know how big this corner's going to be. But do you know what? We're on the back of 2 clean sheets, 2 big victories, on the back of what was a disappointing performance and result against Spurs. Can we now go to this stadium here and a team that's really patchy? You know, they can have periods in games where they're actually decent, but actually over the course of 90 minutes will allow you to play. So it's important that we actually do try and quieten this crowd. And it's often we use this. I don't know how many times we said this, Max, in the build-up to a game. but it's so important that you do actually go to these games and put doubt in the crowd's mind, put doubt in the players' minds. And we are now the team that actually are capable, with the squad we've got, the players we've got. Now he's starting to get everyone back. Can we really cement? Can we get back-to-back-to-back wins? And if we do, all of a sudden now, because that victory in midweek, this game, it gives it more importance. If we'd gone knocked out of the Champions League, this game really would be very different, the feel. I'm feeling different about this game now. And the players will. Do you know why? Because they're now playing for places in that quarter-final. And that be very much on their mind. We are so close to getting to a semi-final, depending on the draw, depending on how we play. But this game has such importance now that if we'd lost in midweek or gone out, would be quite different now to what we're looking at.
Not just had this galvanising effect on the fans, on the players, the staff as well, but also on Leicester, who have switched their formation today. They've gone for a back three, and that tells you exactly what sort of game they're expecting from Chelsea.
They'll take a point, Max. They'll take a point. They're going to try and match us. So Potter has now found the formation that he wants. I felt for quite a while that the squad lends itself to a three. Maybe he's not always had the players to do that. Cucurella had one of his best games, arguably his best in a Chelsea shirt. I remember watching him away at Aston Villa earlier in the season. Really was struggling with that formation, getting dragged into areas. And I think that's something he's got to be very careful of, because he still likes to do that, gets dragged into those areas. If that is the case, then Cover and Chile have got to make sure they cover that space that he leaves in behind. But you're right, this is a manager that's patchy performances is the kindest thing I can say about Leicester. They're looking over their shoulder slightly. If they lose today, if we beat them, let me tell you now that they'll be really looking over their shoulder.
They have had a very unsettled defence this season. They do have the boost of seeing Johnny Evans back on the bench, but they've also got Daniel Amati, who made a couple of mistakes against Blackburn, which saw them get knocked out of the FA Cup. Brings us perfectly on to point number 3. Use the high press that we saw against Leeds and Dortmund as the blueprint moving forward.
Yeah, look, it's something that we can do. We've got the energy to do it. You've got to use as a unit, though. That's what's absolutely key. You can't go ones and twos. You've got hunting backs. Do you know what? Sometimes the press isn't on, and we've got to recognise that. So there's always a catalyst. It might be Kai, it might be Mudryk. If we are going to press, we are going to go high, we are going to squeeze the pitch, we're going to go high, then they've got to go long. And we've got Koulibaly's in the best form I've seen him at Chelsea. I think it's fair to say that we've not seen the best of him, but I think recent weeks, maybe a 3 suits him better. And if they're going to go long, I'll have Koulibaly to beat anyone there. Then it becomes about picking up second balls. That's what the fight becomes. But listen, we've seen what Brendan Rodgers' sides are like at Liverpool and Leicester. And so they want to play out for the back. He wants to play that type of game. Okay, that's fine. So he wants to match us up all over the pitch. Fine. We've now got to do the best example of the 3 at the back. And we've got to make sure that we squeeze it. If we're going to go as a unit. Don't go individually.
3 at the back, of course, allows for the wing-backs to get forward. And a wing-back who Brendan Rodgers will know very well from his time at Leicester is Ben Chilwell, a man who is back into the form of his life.
Without question, look, we've missed him. You think about the way that we played under Tuchel when he first turned up, and the system that he adopted. Chile was absolutely crucial, as was Reece. I think that it's only right that we mention Reece on the other side, because he has also had his injury problems. And when you're denied players of that quality, and the system really does lend itself to it, it's almost like one of your arms has gone missing. And I remember we went to Newcastle before the pair of them got injured early last season, and we went there and we beat them 3, I think it was 3-1. And those two were brilliant. High and wide, and the way that we played, they gave us width. The middle of the park was dominated with the technicians that we had in the middle of the park, but the width that we gave, and those two, I think they might have scored the pair of them, or they assisted at least. We were brilliant that day, and that was what was taken away from us. Now we're starting to see that, and I feel for Potter, because he's had 2 of the best attacking wing backs in Europe miss him, and now if he wants to stay with a 3, and I hope he does, let me tell you now, he's got 2 in the best of the business there.
You're seeing his stats there against Leeds. This clip here was from the first 30 seconds, and just look at the driving force, the intent to get into those positions. Not the worst ball either, to follow that either.
Look, high and wide, that's what you want your wing-backs. So the system is, when I played, it was a 4-4-2. And the width always comes from the wide man of the front four. Now in this system, the width comes, look at him, high and wide. Get out there. I mean, he should do better, really. You don't need me to tell him that. And of course, when you look at the delivery there, it's an outswinger, it gives the goalkeeper a problem. But that's what you need, that width. You need to be able to somehow draw their wide men out, which stretches. Sometimes he might not even get the ball. But what that does, it attracts attention on that side, and it's Ruben on this occasion today. Another similar job, high and wide.
It's assisted the last 3 goals that Chelsea have scored this season, including winning the penalty, of course. But I guess what impressed me the most in that second leg against Dortmund was how far back he forced Wolf, who was such a threat, bombing forward from right back for Dortmund in the first leg.
Again, I'll say again, high and wide, you know, that's the problem. It's not always possible to do that, because you have to have defensive responsibilities, and you've got to make sure you protect Cucurella, because there were moments, certainly in that game, that I felt that Haller was trying to pull on the shoulder of Cucurella. You know, he's physically was dominating. Never really happened. You've got to stop the balls into that box. But once we're in possession in good areas, we've got enough technically gifted players to keep possession. That's when you've got to trust your teammates. Sometimes you can gamble, okay, I'm going to go high. And that's what keeps those defenders back. That's what keeps them back. Be fascinating to see how it plays out today.
So Ben Chilwell, of course, one of the 3 players in the Chelsea squad. He used to play their football at the King Power. N'Golo Kanté, another one who's slowly but surely coming back from injury. But just want to focus in on someone who's returning to the King Power for the very first time in a Chelsea shirt, Wesley Fofana. And he's come into this new, I guess, three at the back formation, and he really looks at home there.
Listen, he is a super player, and we haven't seen it yet enough. We're seeing glimpses of it. Everyone saw what he did at Leicester. Everyone saw the wrestling match to try and get him out of Leicester, and people were saying that Chelsea are low-balling Leicester with a £60 million bid. Eventually the decision came, they were going to move him on. They had to, because they needed to get money in to go and buy, and eventually they did. He's a super player, and he's now starting to show what he can do at both ends. Gone under the radar maybe a little bit, because he's come back from injury, but the goal that he scored against Leeds, I thought he was outstanding in the last 2 games as well. And also he's a player that, again, I think suits a 3. He's comfortable coming out the back, got a brilliant range of passing, quick to the tackle, good in the air. He's almost the all. If you wanted to kind of design a player that can play in a system that's good for that right-hand side, he almost ticks every single box.
There he is there, and against Leeds he did become Chelsea's 13th different Premier League goal scorer this season. Only Arsenal, with 14, have had more different scorers on that particular score sheet. It's good, obviously, to be spreading these goals around. You do want those numbers to start to come from the front guys as well.
Yes, look, we don't score enough. That's the truth. But do you know what? We don't concede many either.
Well, only Newcastle have a better record defensively in the Premier League this season.
Right, and if I can just look back and even look forward to the Champions League, teams that tend to do well in the Champions League, and our win in 21 under Tuchel proved that. I think we are really dangerous in the Champions League because we don't concede many goals. And I think that puts us in a lovely position over 2 legs. If you keep clean sheet, we've got enough players, good players, that can actually score the other end. And as we proved at the midweek, keeping a clean sheet, we need to score 2. We got over the line. So we have enough quality up top. Defensively, we're nice and solid. That's the best part of the game. It's about getting the balance right between defensively being solid and making sure we don't concede, but also having enough attacking threat. It feels a little bit like, Max, that maybe we're starting to get that balance a little bit more in our favour.
As mentioned in the build up to today's game. Wherever we go, Trivago are with us, and now we want to see where you are watching the game from. So let's take a look at the Wherever You Go wall to see exactly where you're bringing Chelsea into your home. Benidorm, Ghana and Nigeria all in there as well, and Marzi Sampson looking for that third win in a row, a third clean sheet in a row. Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it, Jason, as well? Speaking of that defensive solidity.
Well, that's what I mean. Listen, in the perfect game, one goal should be enough to win you a game, right? It should be. That's not obviously how football works, you know. You simply just can't rely on that. Sometimes you do need two, as we found out. But yes, if we keep clean sheet, we've got a chance.
Well, the players are heading in, and we've heard from Jason, so now it's time to hear from the man himself. The boss, Graham Potter, has been speaking to us this week.
Yeah, Tuesday night was a fantastic experience, fantastic evening. I thought the performance was worthy of the victory. Over the two games, I thought we deserved to go through, and the support we had, the atmosphere at Stamford Bridge was, as we spoke about before the game, we thought it'd be rocking, and it certainly was. So a big thank you to the supporters for that. You know, the connection between the team and the fans is the most important thing in any football club. It's something for us to really value. When the supporters are with us, it's a huge power that we have. And Stamford Bridge, when it's together, like we showed the other night, is a wonderful venue, I think. Really pleased with Marc Cucurella. He came in and showed his quality, I think. Really, a really determined performance, committed performance. He's desperate to do well. He's desperate to play for Chelsea. He's desperate to win for Chelsea, and I think he showed what he's about. I think the crowd responded to him. Their treatment of him was fantastic. They got really behind him and the team, and it was a great night. Yeah, the team spirit was there for us to see throughout the two games. Like I said, we were in the first match. We felt a bit hard done by that we didn't score, but the boys kept the belief, performed well in the second game, and then players fighting for each other, for running for each other, covering for each other. I think it was a really strong team performance, and as I said, deserved to go through. Well, that's the challenge for the weekend. We need to keep moving forward, keep building on what we've achieved. We've made some steps, but they're only steps. We've got a long way to go, a lot of things to improve, but there's a good foundation, good spirit with the team. We're looking forward to the match. It's not going to be straightforward because it's a Premier League away game, but we're really looking forward to it.
Really good game. The team played really good. We won. We into the next round, and I think the stadium were amazing. And I think this is the way to stay, to pushing together and more nights with this. For me, maybe it's not the best months in here. I try to work hard, to pushing, and Tuesday I have the opportunity to play, and I put everything in the pitch for the team, for my teammates, and I think it's a really good game. They know for me the last weeks is not easy, but I need work to prepare for when my moment, or when I have the opportunity to play, be ready, and I think we stay ready. My teammates help a lot, and I think this is a good win for everyone. Yeah, I think it's a really good club. Maybe it's not the best season, but I think we arrive in the best moment to the final third. This is the most important moment. We have the Champions League competition, and then we keep pushing in the league to stay in the Champions League, more up in the table, and I think this is the best moment for us. We have confidence, and we work hard.
It was last night.
Good, very good.
Good.
Very happy. You?
Happy? I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Well, it's Chelsea's first Premier League game outside London since January. And in Leicester, the Blues face one of the 3 bottom half clubs they still need to visit before the end of the season. This is an opportunity for Chelsea to pick up a 3rd consecutive win in all competitions, and perhaps even a 3rd consecutive clean sheet. And that will be for the first time since October. It has been a very tough few months to be a Blue, but a lot of the right signs seem to be falling into place on Tuesday during an encouraging performance against Dortmund. Graham Potter's side were organised, energetic and passionate as they booked their spot in the Champions League quarter-finals. Certainly they would have been flying high in training this week, but it's important that they remain grounded for their return to Premier League action today, because after travelling over land and sea in recent weeks, they now find themselves in Leicester against Brendan Rodgers' struggling Foxes. Today's hosts sit 15th in the division. Although they haven't mustered a shot on target in either of their last 2 games, they did manage to beat Tottenham 4-1 here a few weeks ago. Since then, however, they failed to win a single game. They've been dumped out of the FA Cup by Blackburn Rovers, and they've even lost a crucial relegation 6-pointer at Southampton last time out. Hoping for another 3 points for Chelsea alongside me this afternoon is Jason Cundy. Jason, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Max. Good afternoon, everyone.
Performance and result, obviously, against Dortmund will have no doubt buoyed this team. But that was under the floodlights on a big Champions League night. Saturday, 3 o'clock, away to a relegation-threatened side. Need to be able to do it in these games as well.
Do you know what? You're absolutely right. And you know, we said before the game about what this game means now. If Tuesday had been different, this game would totally feel different for the players, the staff, supporters, everyone connected with the football club. But this game now has real, genuine meaning. There's players up fighting for places that could find themselves in a Champions League final, but you know, come June. So this is now massive. Not only that, we just see Liverpool drop points, right? So consistency has been really difficult for a number of big sides, including us, Liverpool. Can we close that gap? Who knows? Champions League football feels as though it's gone over the hill. But you know what? European football is not out of the question, and I think it wouldn't do Potter any harm next season to cut his teeth at some level of European football.
That win that Jason...
on the back of that, of course, he's got to a Champions League quarter-final. But, you know, having a campaign, that's what I mean.
Of course. You mean not having to go without European football?
Yes, it'd be good to continue, keep doing that, yes.
Well, that result earlier at the Vitality does mean Bournemouth move out of the relegation spots. Of course, they played 1 game more than anyone else, but it does draw them level with Leicester City, who are looking to shut up shop and cause an upset against Chelsea this afternoon. Jason, we know that Chelsea have a stable defence, but today is all about that front line clicking again and breaking through what we're expecting to see 10 men behind the ball in Leicester.
Yeah, but they're a side that will give you